So, I was bored at work and I decided to check out what's been going on in the comic world. I noticed there's another war arc in Gotham, so what is that, like the fourth one? But there is some silver lining here. This time, they might at least be doing something new and interesting. From what I understand, the plot is effectively a Bat Family civil war. Don't you just love how DC tries to claim the Bat Family is this tight-knit group, a found family built on trust and character assassination, then constantly puts them at odds with one another. Like, there's more stories of them fighting each other rather than actually building up the relationships between each of its members. Like having bonding between Dick and Duke, or maybe even Jason and Selina. But anyways, I guess it's
rewind time.
And we're going back to 2016. So pick your side, I guess. Are you Team Batman or Team Catwoman? I'm Team Catwoman for multiple reasons. First and foremost, she's hot. Second, she's hot. Third, you wouldn't be able to guess it. She's hot. And finally, last and certainly least, my boy Red Hood's on her side, which actually piques my interest. Unironically, I think those two characters having interactions with each other is long overdue. I think the last time they had any real interaction between them was Battle for the Cowl, where, yeah, just conks her in the back of the head, dog. Which is insane to think about, given the raw amount of things they have in common and could bond over. But that's for another video. Anyways, the other thing that caught my eye while I was perusing and cruising these rough DC streets was the Night Terror event going on. After reading through a couple of them, I quickly realized most of them are boring, with no real standouts to me besides two. Those two in particular being Night Terror's Ravager and Night Terror's Batman, for two diametrically opposed reasons. Despite both having similar-ish premises, that premise being them interacting with their younger selves and assuring them in their future. Spoiler alert, if you couldn't tell by the title of the video, Batman's one is the one I really disliked. And Ravager was the one I kind of really enjoyed. Maybe because I've been so starved of solo Rose Wilson content. No, seriously, I think the last time she had her own spotlight was Ravager Fresh Hell, which was written more than a decade ago, I think. DC, please give Rose more short stories of her own. She is so cool. And you will make me and the 10 other Rose Wilson fans on planet Earth very happy. But anyways, as my grandpappy used to say, it's time to get into the meat and crayons of this video. Okay, so the reason why Night Terror's Ravager resolution worked, but Batman's didn't, was because Rose interacting with her younger self, and thereby her core issues that she's been facing her entire life, is the entire premise. Those core issues being her inability to escape her father, whether literally or through his legacy. For a quick synopsis on Rose, since she isn't the most popular character ever, Rose is the daughter of Deathstroke, who instead of being born to Adeline, like Grant and Joey Wilson, she was instead born to a Cambodian brothel owner, Lily Worth. Since Slade, not beating any stereotypes at all, went to a foreign Asian country and got a bit freaky. Which, being the illegitimate daughter of the guy who's not known for being the most successful parent, might sound bad. But honestly, it could be worse. Rose should just be glad she isn't the daughter of Deathstroke and Terra. But anyways, Rose gets captured and nearly killed to get at Slade, which if Slade had a penny for every single time this happened, to one of his kids, he'd have two. Which isn't a lot, but is truly a testament to the paternal skills of Dad of the Year over here. Rose escapes and goes Rambo on the dude, her mom dies in the fight in the funniest way possible, and Slade kind of realizes after it's all over, damn, I'm kind of a shit father and spouse. So he drops Rose off with the Titans. But his influence over her didn't end there. You see, Rose, whether she likes it or not, carries some of her father's traits. She can be incredibly selfish, manipulative, caustic, and kinda sadistic. But on the other hand, she carries traits of her mother, making her empathetic, heroic, compassionate, etc., etc. She later ends up being corrupted by and working under her father, but eventually breaks out from under his influence with the help of Nightwing, which leads to her returning to being a hero among the ranks of the Titans and rejecting everything about her father. But even this hatred of her dad couldn't change the fact that some of the very things she hates in her dad is indeed part of her as well. Sadly, these negative traits, her past, and her general rebellious attitude made her clash with some of the other Titans. She was constantly treated like some unstable powder keg just about ready to explode, and wasn't a trusted member of the team. Like when Bombshell used everyone's mistrust of Rose to frame her as the traitor and cover up the fact that she was truly the mole on the team. These rifts caused Rose to realize that life on the side of the Angels isn't 100% for her. So she decided to leave the Titans and go soul searching to find out who she truly is and to find her place in the world. This is where the story Ravager and Fresh House starts, which I really recommend you guys read. It's honestly great. But anyways, at the end of Ravager and Fresh House, she realizes that instead of being so concerned with whether her actions are good or bad, she would instead simply make her decisions based on whether she can live with the outcome of her choices. While she might embody some of the worst traits of her father, it doesn't mean she has to use it for evil and selfish reasons like Slade. She could use those negative traits to try and do good by laying that side loose in order to protect others. So anyways, quick synopsis over. Yes, I know I left out a lot of details, but that's for another video, hush! Okay, anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, Rose's interactions with her younger self goes over the core issues stated before. The Murder Man is an allegory for both Wade and Slade Wilson's role in her life. Her younger self, living in a constant state of being pursued, is a reference to the legacy Deathstroke left for her. Her younger self being corrupted and following the Murder Man is a callback to Rose's period of time being manipulated by her father, so on and so on. It displays her father is still her weakness and boogeyman in her life, while also showing how much she's grown out of her father's thumb and into her own person over the years. By being able to extend an olive branch to her younger corrupted self and free her from her father's influence, leaving her younger self and thereby herself with the reassurance that she isn't a monster like her father and can be, no, is a better person and will continue to be so. While on the other hand, Batman's story is all over the place. The most consistent thing about that story was that I was constantly stopping to reassure you that Bruce is not scared or worried. And the only reason why he isn't completely stuck in Insomniac's nightmare like everyone else is because that pesky dead man being inside of his body brings him down to everyone else's level. He goes from being his kid self, where he's still badass and capable, to becoming his adult self, still being acid looking cool. Then he fights with and then reassures his kid self, much like Rose did. But the big difference is that the thing he reassures his kid self about isn't central to the story. He's not constantly grappling with whether his past self will be proud of what he became, or a fear of being alone throughout it. And even when we do get brief moments of Bruce being vulnerable and facing his trauma, it's all about the death of his parents, with maybe 1 or 2 panels mentioning Bruce's family or friends. But Bruce's loved ones are the crux of this story's resolution, where he uses their existence to calm down his younger self. But the family and friends really aren't part of the narrative that Williamson writes here, so it feels kinda unearned. Maybe if the story was focused on Bruce's perceived failures to his loved ones, like the easy ones, the death of Jason Todd, the paralysis of Barbara, or even some of the smaller, less talked about ones, like him feeling responsible for the downfall of Harvey Dent, or the murder of Commissioner Gordon's wife, so on and so on. The resolution would feel a lot more earned then, and the story would be a little less boring in my opinion. Instead, half of Batman's panel time is taken up with Insomnia talking to him, and pointless assurances to the reader that Bruce could totally get out of his dream if it wasn't for Deadman possessing him. But this story is just another drop of water in the pool of problems I have with modern Batman. The thing I take issue with, if you couldn't already tell, is the constant Batwing. Bruce at this point feels like an actor who has it written in his contract that he cannot lose or seem vulnerable. I feel like Batman is like Vin Diesel or The Rock in Fast and Furious. Batman always has to be special or made to seem incredibly special, most of the time at the detriment of other characters. He can't be rivaled by his proteges, he can't be outsmarted, and anyone who denigrates him must be portrayed as wrong. It makes Batman so incredibly boring as a character, and other characters' interactions with him are so canned. Like in Three Jokers, Batman knew Joker's true identity the entire time, while no one else, like Jason or Barbara, could figure it out. Why? Because he's Batman. We have scenes of Batman surviving falls from orbit. He's constantly portrayed to be so far ahead of his allies and proteges, like Dick and Jason for example, which just doesn't make sense. And the entire universe bends in his favor. All of Bruce's worst actions get swept under the rug and just not acknowledged. The weird thing is, other interpretations of Batman, like films and games, don't really suffer from this issue, at least to me. And it makes those takes on the character infinitely more interesting than his comic counterpart. But anyways, I want to keep this video short since this was an impulse video rather than a measured and researched rant like my other ones. Thank you to anyone who watched, and see y'all in the next rant.
And you're gonna look directly into the eyes of your dad.
I've been through all this and I know what I'm talking about. Forget celibacy. If you want to get stronger, do it. Morning, noon, and night, do it. Before and after every meal, do it. Do it till your body aches. Do it till you can't stand up straight. Do it till you're sick of it. Then do it some more.
This is crazy.